So now I'm continuing to answer the questions number 3. The question is talking what is the definition of correlation coefficient, and give it the example. So what is the coefficient of correlation? Well, let's get started by making the correlation between one variable to another variable. So basically we would like to know about whether one variable has correlate with another variable. So the easiest thing that we can consider if we are talking about correlation coefficient is a number, or we can memorize about the number. So the number that we have to memorize about, so let me erase this one. So the thing that we have to memorize about is, there are two things if we would like to measure about the correlation coefficient. The coefficient that we have to remember is 1 and minus 1. Is there only 2? Yes, only between 1 and 2 minus 1. So how to know whether they have a correlation? So the way how we know about knowing the correlation is if there are some formula that we can use in SPSS to measure about coefficient correlation, but here is the concept. So we have to know if there are two variables and we would like to measure whether they have a good correlation or not, just by knowing that if the result of coefficient correlation it is almost 1 or almost minus 1, which means that they have a strong correlation. For example, we would like to know the correlation between speaking and reading. If students good in speaking, which means they have a good in reading. So we make like several data. For example, the score of speaking is 80 and 85. This is the students number 1, students number 2. If their speaking score is 75 and reading score they are 95. Until students 3, they have 78 for speaking, and reading they have 80. So we just sum up all the data and then it shows, and then we put it on SPSS, and we knew about the correlation here. If for example the result showing the coefficient of correlation, for example from this data is 0.81, which means 0.81 is close to 1. That is the data is, it has a strong correlation, but okay, the thing that you have to consider about, if there are two kinds of coefficient correlation. If it is near to 1, which means they have a strong correlation in positive. If it is almost close with minus 1, which means that the data is strong in negative. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.